modifying ourselves, our behavior to fit circumstances or situations that we are in. I think we are constantly doing that. We are all hypocrites.
Yeah.
Whatever needs you or whatever you need will make its way to you.
आदमी में अगर दम नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं चलने वाला है. अगर आप में रेजोनेंस है, आप में पावर है, आप में स्ट्रेंथ है, तो फिर आजू बाजू में सब कुछ चलेगा. You know, I'm successful, no? What I mean by success is not materialistic success. When you evolve, you set boundaries, you evolve, you are internally successful.
Welcome to Voice It with Karishma Shah.
Our guest for today's episode is someone very special. We have Mansi Bajaj, the founder of the Yoga House in Bandra. It is an ashram which she has created out of her vision and her deep desire to follow spirituality in the best way that she knows. We had a heart-to-heart conversation with her about all the things that resonate within her and the kind of vision and mission she has for Yoga House. A beautiful eatery which focuses on clean eating, a lot of classes, a lot of workshops, a lot of spirituality infused into modern day practice. Let's dive deep and understand more from Mansi herself.
You come to the Yoga House before? This is the first time.
Actually, you know what? One of my clients got me over here, I think about 2 years ago. She was like, it's a very good place.
2 years ago when COVID just struck?
Before that.
Okay.
2019.
Okay.
Somewhere towards the end of 2019, something like that. So she got me over here once. We just had like a meeting and everything, so I came here. I think we ate one or two things and then we left. But yeah.
But you live in Bombay or do you live in Delhi?
Yeah. I live in Bombay.
Okay.
In Juhu, right opposite the ISKCON temple.
Because you were saying that you're traveling a lot and you don't know your dates to come to Bombay.
I am traveling a lot. I've got, so this whole 1 month, I've gone to like 8 places in 1 month. I've just been non-stop traveling for like different things. But I'm setting up a wellness place in Goa now.
Oh, nice.
So what I do is I do like up and down of Goa. So we're staying, me and my husband both, we both are like doing about 15 days in Bombay and then 1.5 months in Goa because we both are setting up the place together. So it's taking a lot, but then
what wellness space is that, if I may ask?
So my practice, I'm a nutritionist and like a health coach and everything, and I'm also a counseling psychologist. So what we want to do is we want to create an integrated space when people can come in and they can get their consults done, they can get their body tests and everything done, and then we kind of help them with we coach them with their health, we give them a nutritional plan, we make them understand their Ayurvedic body type, the doshas, the prakriti, everything like that. And then of course the spiritual counseling that is there, because a lot of people who come in have a lot of mental health issues, a lot of emotional issues, So I have a gift by God's grace. I can help in whatever way I can, so I try. And of course we have a team now. We're like a strong team of 10 now. So slowly, we.
And these are all nutritionists, or
yeah, it's a mix. There are clinical psychologists, there are nutritionists, and of course a lot of young girls who want to join now more. I keep getting it. As I said, it's calling. It's just calling, and then we're just following the path, right? So I realized that because there's so much of like people want to kind of come and work, and there's so much of a need of these things, it can't just work in a place where there's one small setup and then we're working from there. I don't want to make it something into a very commercial clinic kind of thing where you come and you get this and you go. It's not that. It's basically like the word healing is very misinterpreted these days.
Tell me about it.
A lot of people think that matlab healing bolenge, so it's a very kind of like tantric kind of a thing. It's not.
But in fact, it's evolved.
Yes.
People have started understanding that healing does not mean just that.
Yeah. And now with the advent of my forte is that basically I fuse 5 things together. So it's your physical health, nutritional health, your mental health, emotional health, and your spiritual health. So we fuse these 5 things together, and we create a thing where it's personalized for somebody. So when we do our 3 months and 6 month programs with people, at the end of it, like if you read the testimonials, if you see the videos and everything, it's crazy. It's transformational.
What are these programs? As in, what do you do? People actually live there for that
when
long?
we're in Goa, we come there. Right now, it's consultations, it's sessions and everything.
So you guys will. So what all activities does it include when you say that emotional health, mental health? So there would be a lot of counseling, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Apart from that, there would be these alternative healing modalities that you guys would be.
We don't really use any alternative healing modalities or anything
Okay.
like that, because we don't have that kind of bandwidth right now. And I don't want to get into that perspective also, because then it's acupuncture and acupressure and all those kinds of things. I don't want to do that. Want to stick to the forte. So what we basically do is that we have a lot of because everyone's trained now. So if you come come in, right, first of all, we'll do a whole assessment. We'll help you out with your health issues, erase the symptoms and everything with the help of food, exercise, mental health counseling, right, and of course spiritual health counseling, behavioral mechanisms and everything. There's a lot of personalization over here when your problems can't be the same like my problems. So we can't do a one solution fits all. हमने Xerox copy निकाला और फिर सबको दिया. It doesn't work like that.
But these are largely counseling sessions. So they are one-on-one talk therapy sessions.
Talk therapy along with activities that we do. So for example, there are lots of things wherein we infuse so a lot of activities in the form of, like for example, there's going to be practical solutions to what you have to do. So those kinds of, there is guided meditation sessions, right? There's a lot of, when you come in, so for example, after we've done your assessment and everything, we do help you out with, if you have a particular problem, how can you practically, with the help of whatever it is that we're going to be teaching you, right? How can you practically shift those things within yourselves? You have a problem with a child. It's how can you fuse your communication with the child?
Got it. Okay. Okay.
So it's those things, and of course, I mean, I create a body, mind, and soul chart. We go through the chart together, right?
Understood.
We help you understand, what problems there are over there also, right? We have a lot of things wherein things like diabetes, right? We're thinking that it's a sugar problem. It's not a sugar problem.
It's an emotional problem.
You know what I mean? Like thyroid is not a hormonal problem at the end. It's a communication problem. It's an expression problem. So what happens is when you understand these things, right, and they don't understand these things, to be able to kind of bring that awareness first of all within themselves. Along with awareness, हमने प्रवचन तो दे दिया, अभी करना क्या है? Practical solution क्या है? मेरे लाइफ में मेरे को हेल्प कैसे करेगा? मेरी सास के सामने मेरा मुंह नहीं खुलता है तो क्या करेंगे हम? You know my point.
Yeah.
So those kinds of things. It's a lot of in-depth things and everything. So like you have to experience it, of course, to kind of like understand it. And of course, the whole nutritional aspect is there because you would understand people have shitty food choices.
And it impacts the person that you become, right? You are what you eat, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Yes. I mean, it's not just choices.
And these are not just statements that you make in the passing. These are like very, very wise statements that have emerged after multiple cycles of experiences that people have gone through.
Yes. So when you as a person are not aware about a lot of things about your life, like you mentioned this thing right now, and you said that it's rolling, right? You mentioned this thing right now that said that I wasn't aware about my anger before, but then after some time, introspection and looking at myself from a third person perspective, I kind of started realizing that it wasn't needed, and it's not me. That alter ego is not even me. This takes years, I'm not even kidding you, years for people to realize. And if at a young age you start realizing these things through psychological counseling, through understanding your personality, understanding your spirit actually, because I don't know if you will agree with this, but we all are something else inside and something else outside.
Of course, yes.
And the true...
Constantly, I think, modifying ourselves, our behavior to fit circumstances or situations that we are in. I think we are constantly doing that. We are all hypocrites at some level.
Yeah, we're morphing slowly,
Yeah. And it's a very standard statement that people make, saying that, you're not your body, you're not your mind. Anybody who comes to a yoga practice will hear that very often. To say these statements is one thing, but to truly understand, it's like you said, it's a process. It's a step-by-step process to which you cannot jump 3 steps and reach there and understand it like that. It's a lot of internalizing. When you start practicing, you will, with various tools and techniques, you will start to observe yourself as a witness to a particular situation, and that, like, again, I am saying, while intellectually you may understand it, but to actually be able to experience it is something else.
Yes.
And that can only come with your own wisdom, your own practice, no matter who's telling you or giving you instructions or guiding you to reach that particular stage. I think it's a very, very personal journey.
It is. And I also feel like, having said that, just through experience, purely through experience, I have realized that there are different categories of people. So one category is where they get self-aware and they'll kind of start embodying it together in their own way. There's a second category which always needs support, always needs guidance. And once they get that, they're able to slowly shift, And I do feel like 70% of the human population is the one that is the following kind.
Agreed.
And if you are fitting into that category, there is no shame in asking for help. There is no shame in asking for guidance. There is no shame in actually
Not at all.
listening to somebody and changing for the real.
And it's not about just asking for guidance from a live human being. Books, for example, or watching videos, or doing, again, all of these I feel form a part of your own study.
They do.
Right? For me, my journey started with books. Honestly, I didn't know where to turn for help.
Yes.
And which is why the idea of creating a safe space where people could actually come and discover and find trust and find freedom.
Yeah.
Actually was born, because I wanted to share the magic of yoga or the practice or mindfulness and the way it helped me with people at large, people who don't know where to go.
Yes. So Mansi, tell me, you have this beautiful place, right? So please tell us, how did it begin? You were just telling me that there's been an illustrious bank career, right?
Yeah.
So how did the shift happen from the bank career to this, and how's the journey been for you so far?
It is actually multidimensional, if I may use the word.
Yeah.
So I was a successful corporate banker for more than a decade, actually. And I really loved what I was doing. So it wasn't like, most people want to do something of their own because they're not enjoying the corporate rut, but it wasn't so for me.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the busyness and the aggression and the volatility and cracking deals and always on the move.
Yeah.
But then, there was a personal turn of events in my life, which led me to turn to yoga. And I like to say that, that's when I found yoga, or rather, yoga found me.
Yeah.
And I started practicing and delving deeper into it. I started studying philosophy and, self-help, as most people
Call it.
would shy away from calling it.
Yeah.
But it's actually true.
It is true. Yeah.
And there is no embarrassment in
Absolutely.
admitting it. And I started delving deeper into these practices, is where, the magic truly started to happen. I felt that, every time, every moment that you spend studying and you started exposing yourself to this more conscious ecosystem.
Yeah.
It was like unraveling layers within your own self. A lot of things. I feel that then I truly understand this concept of everything is energy. We talk about it all the time, saying that we are not gross matter and everything is energy and vibrating at a particular frequency. It's when you start actually practicing that is when you realize that what it truly means. It means that as you started practicing, you're lifting your frequency higher.
Yes.
And you start shedding what is no longer needed. You start coming out from old patterns by yourself without making a conscious effort. And you start attracting everything in the orbit of where you are vibrating at that particular moment. So whatever needs you or whatever you need will make its way to you.
Yes.
So, spending time in nature. And that is when truly I learned the difference between being alone and being lonely.
Yes.
When I was working, I was always busy. Weekends were always, there were always some kind of plans being made. I was never home, whether at work or partying. And when a plan got cancelled over the weekend, I would not like it. I would say, you wasted my time. I would have made something else out of it. But I didn't want to stay home alone because I wanted to be continuously busy in doing something.
Yes.
And when, this shift happened, I found myself becoming a homebody. Like how?
Yeah.
Like, everything shifted in my life.
Yeah.
I didn't want to engage. It wasn't like I didn't like to meet people. It was just that I didn't vibe with it anymore. I wanted to spend my time learning more and probably engaging or exchanging energy with things that
Resonate with you.
that resonated with me. Yeah.
Yes.
So that's what happened. And then when I moved away from this frantic finance world,
Yes.
it gave me all the time and all the space to then experiment and work with nutrition and flavors and
Yes.
aesthetics. And I don't have a formal training in food. It's just intuitive cooking for me.
Yes.
And when I started experimenting with that, and it's like I went myself from a complete junk and a fast food eater to only taking, my body only allowed me to take in things that were in sync with it. So once I started doing that, I started feeling a pull towards this entire ecosystem of wellness. And I'm saying it just happened naturally for me. I made no conscious effort. I only tuned in to myself.
Yes.
I only listened to myself no matter what the world said.
Yes.
And this came into being.
Yes. That is often a very that's often a very lonely journey, and that's often a very tough journey to do, right? When you mentioned this thing where you said that tuning into myself, letting myself take the lead, and kind of tuning out others. Because I've done this myself, I do resonate with the fact that it's a very lonely journey, very, very tiring journey as well. I want you to kind of mention the fact that, when you did do this, and you kind of shifted things for you, people feel like, it's, once you do this, you're like this really kind of, quiet, really alone kind of person when you start doing these things. But, I clearly know it's not. So, please tell us the other side of it. After that journey is done, once that tiring journey is over of kind of like, negating everybody else, but believing in yourself, what are the fruits of it?
I think you can see the fruit yourself. Now everyone who crosses the threshold of Yoga House tells me that, when we enter, we feel the energy is something else, the vibe is different, and we feel so at home here.
Yeah.
And that is what I've created. This is the fruit of whatever difficult time
Yes.
that I've had in the past.
Because so many people feel like, if you've gone down the route of, consciousness, if you've gone down the route of spiritualism, now you have to live like a monk. Now you have to live like a saint. I don't think that's so true. And I also feel like, you can run parallel with having a very strong mindset, having a very strong way of doing things, being an entrepreneur as well, and maintaining a very, very conscious, very, very awakened side of yourself. And in fact, it kind of like parallelly works stronger.
In fact, I feel it's the other way around. You're not taking away the fun in life by becoming more conscious. I feel you are more in tune with your inner child, or in tune with, not taking life too seriously. I always say that yoga does not mean that, you give up everything on all the worldly pleasures and you become, a monk and you start practicing austerity. It is not that.
Yes.
Which is why I like to call this like an urban ashram, where, I had to actually go to Dharamshala, to Mysore, to Bali, to other places to study, and, confine myself within the four walls of my home, to study.
Yes.
I just feel that a lot of it, sorry.
That's fine. It's okay. You can aram se, no problem. She'll help. Sometimes it covers the whole face, that's why. Volley was good, right?
My chain of thought.
It's okay, no problem. You said people have to travel and they have to go to different places, but you had to confine yourself to a space to be able to learn things.
Yeah, and I actually had nowhere to go. I didn't know who I could turn to, because honestly speaking, spirituality has become a marketplace, and there are just so many people out there, promising to heal you, so to say, and I'm scared of that,
True.
Because nobody heals anybody.
True.
And it's not commercial. At the end of the day, I feel that tuning, I'm being repetitive here, but tuning into your own wisdom,
Yes.
doing what feels right to you, but not all of us have the luxury to understand it on our own, and therefore some guidance is needed, and therefore, an urban ashram comes, into existence, where everything that's going to be offered, it's going to be from a place of heart.
Yes.
it's going to be genuine, simple, honest, and authentic. Which is why I've chosen the motto of eat, practice, love, which means that you eat high prana food, you practice anything that is yoga or that is immersion to you. For a musician, his music may be his yoga. For a cyclist, his cycle, his practice becomes his yoga.
Yes.
And yoga is not confined to an asana practice. It is a philosophy.
Absolutely.
Right? It's a philosophy, it's a lifestyle that you choose to have. And therefore, anything that brings about devotion in you is your practice.
Yes.
And love, because I think it's the highest form of energy that can ever be.
Yes.
Right? And which is why I say #eat, practice, love.
Yeah. Yes. So you did mention that there is a yoga shala over here.
Yeah.
You have this amazing high prana food that you serve over here, right? Over a period of time, even pre-COVID, while COVID happened, post-COVID, have you seen a transition in people's mindset towards, things about
Definitely.
health?
Definitely. I think COVID has done a subconscious selling of the concept of health and wellness.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about before, that people keep swinging between extremes, right? It's very difficult to sustain something that you start because as human beings, we keep getting pulled in different directions, right? Because that's what the mind is,
Yes.
So I would say that definitely there is more awareness, there is more evolution in terms of evolution of collective consciousness.
Yes.
Everybody is more aware of different modalities, different practices. Social media has played a role. People are hooked on to listening to people who are advocating health and wellness. But there is one thing called knowing it intellectually, hearing it, and another thing to practice it.
Yes.
And unless you do that, you will not be able to progress.
True.
In life. We are not here. It's a very deep question that why are we here, right? Are we here to become a doctor, an engineer, or whatever labels as we tag ourselves with?
Yes.
Are we here to do that, or are we here to realize? What is the soul's objective? It is to realize that it is the divine, right? And ultimately, charting its path to merge with the divine in the end.
Yeah.
Right. So that is the soul's objective, and therefore we as human beings are here so that we are able to recognize what we are and what we are experiencing in this lifetime, and keep that remembrance as we keep leading our life, and knowing that ultimately this is what is called as mithya, right?
Yes.
That this is not real. What is real is that I am a part of the collective consciousness, that I am one with the cosmos. I am a microcosm, and I have to merge with it.
Yes.
And therefore you have to step off the wheel of karma, and therefore you must, no matter what has happened in your life, look at it from the higher perspective.
Yes.
Of it only being an experience. It's almost like a movie which is playing in front of you, and you are a character in it. And the end is always the same. You've got to go merge, right?
Yes.
And no matter now you choose to act in one movie,
Yes.
and do that role, or you keep making multiple movies as various lifetimes till you reach the final goal.
Destination. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for summing it up in that way. I feel like so many people misinterpret the whole concept of spirituality. So many people misinterpret the whole concept of health, wellness, and as we were talking, the whole concept of healing as well, right? It's a negative term now. It's not something that we look to for understanding things, but we look at it from one perspective, and then we're thinking that it's all just talks. But it's not really that. If you haven't experienced it, you will think it's just talk. But if you have experienced something that as you said, like an embodiment of the kind of awareness you have, looking at yourself from a third person perspective, and then having to be able to change the way that you do things, right? Then you see the benefits, and you start understanding that energy is real. spirituality is real, transitions are real, the entire soul's journey, karmic journey, everything is real.
And when you start doing that, actually, you'll find that the entire universe supports you. You know, you'll
2000%.
start getting introduced to things
Yes.
you never even knew existed.
Yes.
Right? You'll start getting signals. You'll start getting messages. You'll start elevating your own life.
Yes.
And it just happens.
Yes.
You have to allow it.
Allow it to happen.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Mansi, you did mention, that when you started out, right, even with the whole, taking over of, the yoga house and also, like kind of entering this journey, right? You mentioned that, so a lot of people would not resonate with it, and a lot of people also kind of told you that, you're a little crazy about doing kind of things, doing these kinds of things, and, maybe you should just kind of like go into some kind of a spiritual retreat or something like that, right? This is one of the most common things that a lot of spiritualists get. This is one of the most common things that a lot of people who are shifting their consciousness get from the external world that don't really understand the process, right? So from you who's already gone through this, tell us how that was. Like, what did you feel when this was happening? And, please, because we've spoken about the positives, let's talk about things that, really bother you somewhere down the line, but you've kind of like, because of your own Zen mode and because of your own way of kind of like, assimilating information, you've kept it calm. But, I feel like people should know. So please tell us how it feels.
It's never easy because life as you know it completely disintegrates,
Yeah.
right? And you do get scared along the way that what is happening, because there's a lot of uncertainty. You're also introduced to it for the first time. You do not know what's happening to you. You're trying to tackle a situation that you've gotten yourself into. In the first place, you shattered. You're heartbroken.
Yeah.
You're trying to heal. You're trying to bring together pieces of you. And then in that process, if what you know also is taken away from you, I'm sure, I mean, you will get lost. I mean, lost is the word for it.
Yeah.
For me, I did move away from my friends. I did move away from my family. It wasn't like I did not want to connect with them. It was, I was not ready because I wanted my own space to be okay before I could, because I didn't want to pass the burden of what I was feeling onto someone else.
Yes.
And this was a very difficult thing for most people to understand. And also, during that journey, when you actually come out on the other side and you're ready to step out into the world, there'll still be things that people would expect you to do because of societal conditioning. There is a lot of fear. So I could see when, my family or my friends or, people connected with me, and when they didn't, I actually ghosted people.
Yes.
And it was not the right thing on my part to do, but I thought, I found no other better way.
Yeah.
And I was being constantly told that, everybody will move away from you and you will be alone and life is not like this and, you need to get out. I just feel that, so what is this stemming from? This is stemming from fear of being ostracized or being alone.
Yeah.
And that was the single most fear that I was trying to conquer, right?
Yeah.
There was a heartbreak that I was trying to heal from.
Yes.
And I feel that there is love on one side and there is not hate on the other side. There is fear.
Yeah.
There's always fear
On
of
the other
something.
side. Yes, that's
Yeah?
true. That's true.
And now that particular fear that I'm trying to move away from, that is being constantly bombarded at me in various forms.
Yeah.
This will happen, that will happen, do this, do that.
Yes.
I just feel that, I was blessed that I actually shut the noise out. I mean, honestly, it wasn't easy.
At one point,
I was, if I may say, I never had to visit a counselor or a shrink or whoever even once, because, and I'm blessed to do that. I found my own way. I found my own way because I trusted.
Yes.
Right. I knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel. At that point in time, you will not know that.
it.
You will feel.
Yes.
You will feel
Lost
again.
Yeah.
But as time starts going by, and if you have complete faith on your practice,
Yes.
I feel that you will emerge, and you will emerge much stronger on the other side.
That is true.
And that happened. And like I was saying, that even after that, when you actually start making public appearances, you would be expected to behave in a certain way. So, for example, in a party, people would say that, oh, please have a glass of whatever, wine or alcohol.
Yeah.
Now, in that particular phase of my life, my system was rejecting alcohol, right?
Yes.
Because it was not something that I was doing deliberately, because I wanted to put myself out there saying, oh, I have risen from all of this
Yeah.
things that you guys are still doing. It wasn't that. It was just that I could have fun without alcohol.
Yes.
And people thought that because it is their way of having fun, oh, how can you have fun without a glass in your hand?
Yes.
That is not true. I was probably enjoying it more than most people were doing that, but
Yes.
you would expect it in a certain way. So therefore there is a lot of societal conditioning, expectations that are always tied to you
Yeah.
at every phase in your life.
Yeah.
Be it business, be it personal, be it anything that you choose to do in your life. I just feel that you have to know yourself and trust yourself.
Yes.
Your inner guidance.
Yes.
That
is
knows
the
the
best.
best.
Yes.
Knows the best.
It is. It is.
And even though it may feel like you're not making the right choice at that moment, but trust me, I mean, there's nothing better than to follow that voice.
It is. It is. In fact, that is the silver lining of the cloud. That if you do trust it, and after the difficult phase, and once you see the light, it's something that you've earned it, and it's also making sense now more than it would before.
And it's never a straight line, whether it's entrepreneurship or whether it's
Yes.
your personal life. We discussed, it's a very lonely journey.
Yes.
It is somewhat, I like to draw a parallel to a romantic relationship, where I feel that unless you experience it, you feel it yourself, you're not able to express it enough in words to another person as to what you're going through.
True.
That is entrepreneurship.
True.
Yeah. So that, and it is never a straight line. It is never linear. I think every business, no matter how big, small, every situation will have its share of turbulence.
Yeah.
You cannot expect everything to be hunky-dory all the time, but what happens is that when you're embodying all these practices, problems do not go away. You only rise a little bit above it, and you get a different perspective to handle them. That's all.
And also your tolerance is way higher of everything.
You still break down. I will be honest.
Yes.
There were times when I completely broke down. I used to cry. I used to howl. And then I used to pick myself up together. So those 3-4 years till the time it happened, very difficult.
Yes.
But I'm still not saying that I have emerged completely free of that. It can never be. It's a continuous evolvement, continuous process.
Yes.
I think till such time that you finally realize the goal of the soul, rather.
Yes.
This
That's nice way of putting it. Yes.
Yeah.
The goal of the soul. Yes. आदमी में अगर दम नहीं है तो कुछ नहीं चलने वाला है. अगर आप में रेजोनेंस है, आप में पावर है, आप में स्ट्रेंथ है, तो फिर आजू बाजू में सब कुछ चलेगा. So it's that we know that the space is doing great. We know everything is nice. You've set this up. Of course, there's so much of effort that's gone into it. But what does it take? Why does it happen? How does it click? So that's that thing that so many people want to know. And the thing that you said, right? You need to bust these myths that people have in their mind, and you need to hear it from more people who are achieving things. You need to hear it from people who are doing things. I get a lot of people who kind of like tell me that, even when I started, because I'm a Gujarati, so like I come from a very strong business background. Like my grandfather, my father, my aunt, like everybody in my family has been like, mega entrepreneurs, and then I used to be one at one point as well, but then I shifted. And, of course, it's the same thing like you, I was earning a lot, doing a lot, traveling like crazy, and it was mad. It was just this crazy high that I was on, as far as materialism is concerned. Then event happens, then you shift your energy, then you start realizing that's not what I really want. It's not giving me peace. It's just keeping you on the move all the time. Do you really want that? And then there were a lot of years where I wasn't tapping into, as I said, the gift. I wasn't tapping into it. It would keep happening, and I would just like push it away. Like, नहीं करना है, नहीं मदद करना है किसी को, नहीं करना है, नहीं करेंगे हम. अपना खुद का बहुत है, दूसरों का नहीं करेंगे.
ऐसा आप सोचते नहीं हो एक्टिवली कि नहीं करेंगे, बट वो कभी होता ही नहीं है, बिकॉज यू डोंट हैव टाइम.
And also where you kind of like consciously reject opportunities, you consciously reject
Yeah, you do.
doing things.
You do.
You know, like, so for example, if you're sitting with me today, right, and I know it within me that you will talk, that you will say something, I will read it, I will hear it, I will understand it, but I block it out. I'm like, करो तुम अपना, हम नहीं सुनेंगे, हम नहीं tap in करेंगे. So years and years of, you know, that, and then you start realizing that no.
And then it takes one thing.
And then that volcano just erupts and you're like, oh my god, and then you don't have to do anything. Of course,
It
I mean,
just happens.
it's an internal
Yeah.
process that you're constantly working with, but things just keep coming like an avalanche. And then all you have to do is you just have to be present over there and give. That's what you have to do. You know? So I feel like, you know, once you tap into that, and a lot of people told me that you will stop earning so much money and you will go into nutrition. What?
Same thing.
Huh? You will go back to college. You will study for the next 5 years now. Are you crazy? After getting married, you want to study? मतलब तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब हो गया है. But then I was like, me being me, I've never listened to anybody in my entire life. Thank God for that.
Thank God for that. Like,
Thank God for that. I tell myself even today.
I feel grateful for my stubbornness.
Yeah. Oh, it's a gift.
It's a gift.
I've always followed my heart. Always, no matter what has happened.
Yeah. And no matter how big a mess I've landed into because of that.
Yeah.
But I've stayed strong.
Yes. So, you know, I mean, it is, and then you do it, and then people are like, and when you make it happen, you know, it takes 2-3 years, 4-5 years, and then once you make it happen, and then when people notice, and the same people who used to be like, क्यों? They're like, यार, एक काम करना यार, ये भेज देना. कभी टाइम है तेरे पास? Give me an appointment, Noya. You know, it's that thing where, you know,
And you realize that those very same people are still having the same discussions that they were having 5 years back when you were a part of that.
Yeah.
अपना कुछ करते हैं.
Yeah.
You know, let's do something. In a bank specifically, it's very, very common thing. You know. Over chai breaks and sutta breaks, everybody would be coming together and discussing this thing. The rut of the banking world.
yeah,
and,
that ranting a little bit, no?
yeah. And always there are plans being made. चलो ये करते हैं, चलो वो करते हैं ना. हर दिन आप आके सेम बात करते हो. Daddy, do you even have the courage to give up? You know, this what you have and walk into the unknown. Which is why, you know, entrepreneurship is so much respected. क्योंकि not everyone has the balls to do it.
Absolutely.
It takes a lot of courage. I think it takes every ounce of strength from you to be able to take that plunge and B, stick with it.
Yes.
Which is why they say ना some 300 days बोलते हैं, कितने days बोलते हैं? If you've been an entrepreneur and if you've stuck to what you've started for those many days, then success is guaranteed.
Yeah.
You know, but you have to stick with it.
Yes. No, it is true.
Yeah.
It's like, because, you know, when we do this, right, even what people see on social media, when you're having a conversation with people and everything, you know, today we're having a heart to heart, so it's a completely different thing. But on a general societal setup, right, you're not going to tell them how many breakdowns you've silently gone through in your bathroom.
In your bathroom, or when you know.
Yes.
Going to sleep.
Yes.
Or first thing when you wake up in
the morning, that anxiety attack that you've gotten, just realizing that, oh my God, I'm responsible.
You know, the stress of always being right. You have to be right because every decision that you take has a direct impact on what you're doing.
Yes.
And it's just you. Everything is hinging on you.
Yes.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is.
A lot of pressure.
Responsibility as well, because I feel like, you know, as soon as you become an entrepreneur and, you know, you're kind of like leading, because that's what an entrepreneur does, right? They lead. As soon as you are leading, you start realizing that the people that are there behind, or the people that are there even with you, right, they depend on you. So you're the responsible one now. Every single thing that you say, every single action that you take, every single, you know, decision that you make is going to have an impact not just on you, but a placebo effect on everybody that's there behind you.
True. Absolutely true.
You know, you have mouths to fill, you have mentorship to give, you have education to give along with that. You know, you're an example for other people, right? And is huge responsibility. I mean, I feel like it's massive responsibility. It's just the same way, you know, how you would feel when you were a parent. It is that responsibility.
It's the same thing.
Exactly
You're
the same
baby,
thing.
yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is that. Which is why I say it's like many parallels can be drawn towards real relationships with human beings, and that is it's not a business. It's not an entity.
Yes.
It is a throbbing live thing where you placed your heart in.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Yes. That is true.
And that is something only you will understand.
Yeah.
No one else.
Yeah, and that's the beauty in it. It's good that only we understand it. You know, I don't know if you've kind of realized it, but there are these silent victories that happen. You know, and they are like only you know them. You know,
Yeah.
and you know that joy, that feeling, and that sleep that you get that night. You know, when you have those silent victories, it's priceless. For me, also personally, it's just priceless.
It is.
You know,
Surely it is.
you were telling me about the retreats and everything. Would you want to kind of elaborate on the retreats?
So basically, what we're trying to do is also curate experiences and wellness retreats for people to come away from, changing traveling as we knew it before.
Yeah.
So while you travel and you experience a new place, but you also delve into these self-care tools and techniques and practices.
Yeah.
That then, become the core around which your travel revolves.
Yeah.
Because why do you travel? You travel to rest it out, to learn new things, cultures, see new things, right?
Yes.
But also the primary thing is obviously to break away from your mundane life and to go and add something as rich as an experience to this lifetime. For me, travel has always been not about staying in fancy hotels and experiencing these materialistic things. It's about enriching myself with experiences. So whether it is diving or bungee jumping, or
Yes.
these are all adventurous activities, but even experiencing the culture, the place,
Yes.
just sitting on a street in Europe and seeing people move by.
Yes. Beautiful.
Generally soaking it all in.
Yes.
So again, it's a very subtle. You're not doing something. You need not actively do something. It's something that you're soaking in from another place, another culture, another environment.
Yeah.
So, extending that to wellness, curating experiences and wellness retreats, that again, obviously at the same time, giving you rest, and at the same time triggering that
like a rejuvenation kind of thing, right? Like you come out
rejuvenation.
and no amount of like photographs or no amount of Instagram posts can actually live up to that kind of a feeling, right? It's just this thing that you kind of like imbibe, and then you'll never forget that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
That those kinds of unforgettable experiences, I absolutely relate to what you're saying. Yes, I do understand. That's fantastic. I feel like that's what the future of travel looks like.
and bringing you close to nature. So it's not bringing you closer to concrete,
Yeah.
to luxury.
Yeah.
It's about returning to the wild,
Yeah. Yes.
and that is your true nature.
Yes, it is. As I said, this is what the future of travel is going to be, along with experiencing so many other things. We're kind of like shifting towards now, not just good food in a restaurant or good hotel rooms or anything like that. I mean, we've been there, we've done that, and with the kind of commercialization that's there today, I feel like the more natural experiences that we give to people, and the more
Something that's truly nourishing for your mind, body, and soul.
so yes,
Yeah, something which is closer to Mother Earth.
Yes.
Probably.
Yes, fantastic, Mansi. Beautiful idea, and I feel like all the best for the retreats as well. They'll go fantastic by God's grace. The same thing that you said about like attracting like. So I feel like जिसको लगता है ना मम्बो जम्बो, उनका situation है. But there are, as compared to those 10 people, there are 10,000 people who resonate with these things. So you know what? We know who we're catering to. So what's the point of thinking about the negative? We should always just focus on the positive. So it's
But amongst those 1,000 people who think it's mumbo jumbo, I think your family features first.
yes,
They'll be like,
yes.
"Ye kya bakwas ho rahi hai?"
Yes, and the solution to this is, I kind of realized this, the solution to this is that if, when you're successful, what I mean by success is not materialistic success. When you evolve, you set boundaries, you evolve, you are internally successful. So for me, peace is what gives me success. Peace of mind, peace of, you know, my decision making, peace of freedom, peace of living, anything. But that internal peace is my form of success. So after a certain amount of time, with the kind of hard work that I've put in with everything, you know, when I did achieve that peace, I'm successful and it resonates. And the family then vibes to that energy and they know that, you know what, she's at peace now. And she is vibrating that.
Eventually they come around.
They do.
They do. Always do.
It's like, you know, I always say this very funny thing, you know, because I mean, it happened with my parents. So I always say this. It's like, you know what, अगर आपने लव मैरिज करनी है और पेरेंट्स नहीं अग्री करे पर आपने एलोप कर लिया, फिर जब पहला बच्चा होगा ना, फिर तो हाँ बोलनी पड़ेगी. You know what I mean? It's that reward.
Yeah.
That first child is your reward.
Yeah.
In the form of, I'm saying, in
For
that
me,
setup.
it was even more difficult because I don't discuss my plans too much. I'm not very vocal about it. So, you know, people back home did not even know that I'm quitting and doing something like this.
Yes.
And for them, it was like, see, again, it was my own personal journey. They did not feel the things that I felt, right? And therefore, to an intellectual mind, leaving a fairly successful in materialistic terms job which I had earned after a lot of study. I'm an MBA in finance and, you know, worked my way up the corporate ladder, so to speak.
Yes.
Why would somebody leave the comfort of that and, you know, do something like this, where I feel that when you start a business from scratch, I think, and you know, that is the biggest challenge that you face by yourself. For me, it was, you know, that shift from a structured, where everything is taken care of kind of an environment to a place where I had to be a peon and the CEO at the same time.
Absolutely.
Right? You completely redefining everything that you've known. And, you know, in an office, you would say, oh, this is not my job. And this is, you call it a JD, like a work profile. Here, there is nothing like that. You know, even mopping is your JD at times.
Yes.
So and you know, then for people outside, your family, your friends, they'll be like, who does this? I mean, why would you leave the comfort of that life? And this is something that you truly enjoy, because it actually did feed my intellect. I mean, I was happy and enjoying my work as in the investment world. So for them to come to terms as to what has caused this shift in you, so as to for you to take such a drastic step in your life, which is a difficult journey. And I come from a business family myself, and they do understand the perils of your own business. And they were thinking that, oh, you're the only one who studied and who's, you know, gone out and done, and you'll not have to face the challenges posed by you know, running your own business. But here you are. You choose to give all of that up, and you choose to do this. And honestly, it has not been a rosy, hunky-dory journey.
I absolutely believe you.
And, you know, apart from the challenges initially and then the 2 years of COVID, I would say it has taught me a lifetime of lessons.
I understand.
Nothing that an MBA can teach you, honestly.
For true. It's these pearls of wisdom that you learn when you're at your lowest. You know, it could be something that people don't understand, but you know that, you know, this is you vibrating at your lowest, and situations not being in favor of you. You know, that's what really bothers us a lot. And when that starts happening, and you know, you start realizing that, you know, नहीं पर इसमें lesson है, वो एक बार सीख लिया ना, फिर वो next step.
And you have to be open to experiences. You know? क्या होगा? So I always feel ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा क्या होगा? It will not work. So nobody is able to take away your intelligence from you. Go back. To where you came from. What else will happen? Tell me. So therefore, keep taking risks. Follow your heart's calling. I just feel that you know, that's the best thing to do. So for me, this is where I find my soul. You know, the soul comes home. The intellect gets fed through business, right? But this fulfillment is something I would not trade anything for. True.
And at the end of the day, I feel like we have layers. So there was one layer which was really at a particular age, at a particular time, was vibing with the whole, bank structure, with that, adrenaline rush that was there at that point, right? And then you shed that layer. And today there's a different layer. And, tomorrow, after 5 years, after 10 years, there could be another layer.
Yeah, I am not saying that I do not know what I will become. Like, I did not know when I was working there that this is what I would do in my life.
Yeah.
Similarly, I don't want to predefine life for me, because I want to be open to living it in all its magic and glory, right? This is magical for me, honestly.
Yes.
This is where you find magic.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. So with I know that you serve. I want to talk to you very quickly about, some of the very interesting food aspects, because, you did mention, nutrition, you mentioned the pranic food and everything, right? So tell us the experience that, you have created with the food aspect at the cafe, and, how have people reacted to, eating that kind of food, and your own personal take on it?
So I think I would leave the people's reaction part for you to discover it yourself. But yes, what I get a lot is, that food is best defined as comfort food here.
Yeah.
I've tried to sort of mix and match flavors and experiment with it to create maybe continental or maybe more modern cuisines, but everything is wrapped in home style fusions. So there is a khichdi which is extremely popular. And honestly speaking, because our audience when we started out and even now was skewed towards a lot of expats coming in, I think they thoroughly enjoyed the culture and the flavors and the the understanding of Ayurveda that we've sort of tried to take care of while doing the menu. So food is very, very fresh. We do not use anything which is packaged, anything which is tinned. So everything is made from scratch. So it's clean eating. To my knowledge, we've tried our best to put it on the plate. And of course, a lot of vegan and plant-based and gluten-free options. In fact, we were amongst the first places in Bombay, amongst the first health food spaces that came up in that time, because there was actually nothing else. And now you'll find health food on every menu, maybe even of a 5-star hotel to a roadside eatery. There is a separate health menu, but back in those times, nothing like that existed. So, I believe that like when I say that consciousness has actually shifted and people have started becoming more aware of these things, and they're looking more for these things. So when you start looking more options start coming up.
They come to you.
They come to you.
You also do these really fun workshops and everything over here. And you have a beautiful yoga shala as well, right? So please tell us a little bit more about that also.
So again, I take pride in saying that we were the first ones to come up with a structured yoga schedule. So back in those times when somebody wanted to practice, you either had these religious, or I would say a religious connotation to yoga, so something like an art of living or something like Baba Ramdev. But there was no place, or it was offered in by either home trainers, or you go to gyms where there is one class. But the whole vibe, the whole philosophy, the whole I would say the whole experience of yoga, because yoga is much beyond asana. It is not just
it's more like a lifestyle, right?
It's more like a lifestyle, but the shala will offer trying to keep a structured schedule for everybody to keep their practice consistent. Whether it is a beginner or whether it's an advanced student, or whether you're looking for a restorative class or a yin class or or an intensive class. There was something on offer for every single person. Right. And then along with that, like an entire ecosystem, there is sound therapy, there is crystal healing, there is Reiki, there is biomagnetism, there is a lot of other energetic experiences that we sought to sort of bring together under one roof to the seeker. So there would be a structured schedule with 45 sessions in a week. So maybe pre-COVID we used to have 7 sessions a day, and we work like a sort of a membership schedule where people could become members, and then they had access to all classes.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. So that's what it is. People can come and
great.
choose their classes.
Yeah.
Choose a variety of styles, choose a variety of teachers, a variety of experiences. So it's wholesome experiences under one roof.
Oh, that is fantastic. I feel like I really love the whole aspect where you spoke about this thing wherein, it's a subscription based thing, and then like people can come in and experience like different days, different kind of things. I feel like that's so needed because it kind of makes you understand that there's not just one energetic modality. There are so many which can, some click for somebody and some don't click for somebody. So you get to experience that day in and day out, and it's a journey that you kind of like take people on.
Right. Also because, most places would have a fixed batch that, you join the 6 to 7 batch.
Yeah.
But it's not like that, because you yourself are not sure as to what you'll feel more attracted to, or you yourself, as Ayurveda tells us, we are all made of these 3 doshas, right?
Yeah.
Which are constantly in flux.
Yeah.
So today I might enjoy an intensive vinyasa class. Tomorrow I would want a slower class which is very much in alignment with my breath.
Yes.
Therefore I could choose that. So it's not restricting anybody to a particular kind, to a particular modality, so to speak. So it's like an ashram which has everything going in, and you come and you do what resonates with you.
Yeah, fantastic. That sounds really nice. I feel like more power to you, Mansi. I mean, it's been amazing to know the entire journey, your own spiritual journey, your journey with the whole space as well, and I feel like I'm so happy that, there has been like a spiritual sync as well, because it's so important for people to understand that along with all that, negative energy that you see around, there are people who kind of resonate. There are people who understand. There are people who kind of vibe on the same level. So I feel like, it was amazing doing that with you today. I wish you more power. I wish you more luck with the entire space and in life. Thank you so much for doing this. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience for us.
Likewise.
Thank you.